Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Pitstop Fracas. I'm your host, Richard, and today we're here to review the Hungarian Grand Prix. Here today on this sort of grim Sunday evening is none other than Kwame. Kwame, how we doing, bro?
I'm not too bad, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right, bro. I'm all right. Just went to go see Oppenheimer on the weekends. Had a good time there.
Yeah, about that
Yeah.
for me. I ditched that for this race, so I'm a bit annoyed in the sense of like, man, I could have spent my time better watching something more, productive. I would have enjoyed more than seeing this race, seeing my team go out on the first corner, seeing my driver get they're dunked on by a guy who's supposed to be washed as well. Like, yeah, I could have done without it, man. I could have done without it.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend for you, isn't it? I know you've still been outside.
Saturday was outside. I was enjoying myself, I can't lie. I was
You've been
getting
slapping that Monzo.
Yeah, and I was getting pinging the G. I couldn't care less, man. But today, man, gosh, I should have fell asleep the whole day. I'll be honest.
Yeah, you've been slapping that Monzo on the weekend, fam, on babes. I know you, bro. I know you. Now Monzo's telling you what you spent for the day. It's like 200 something pound. You're like, oh my god.
Hey, at least it's not declining, man. That's what I'm saying. At least it's not declining.
Ooh, is that what you're on, yeah? That's a Makoto decline. Hey, look at Kwame, chop life. Good Kwame, fam. Shit. Okay, and let's go to my other Ghanaian brother, who's also deviant on the weekend, as that others none other than Rafa. How about you say, Rafa?
We're good. We're good. There's not much to say, but we're out here, man. We're out here. We are out here. Got to speak to my people though, but we're out here. It's all blessed. It's all blessed. What are you telling me, Rich, man?
Yeah, fully agree with you, bro. We out here, man. You just gotta live life. You know what I'm saying? Just gotta live life. That's it. Guess what? F1, like
exactly.
What you know what I'm saying? Like, Max P1, like whose man's is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. No, but yeah, let's get straight into proceedings. So here we talk about Quali. So this weekend there was a new Quali format where in Q1 you're supposed to use hards, Q2 you're supposed to use mediums, and Q3 you're supposed to use softs. And in my opinion, it actually kind of slapped, to be fair. Because I had a few reservations, because this has been rumored for quite a while. This ATA was an allocated tire. I can't remember what it stands for again. So it's alternative tire allocation, that's it. And I was thinking, so if some teams are better than some compounds than others, will it really mix up the grid that much and that sort of thing? But it actually slapped, to be honest with you. It really did. Like Alfa Romeo will surprise of the weekend. Like I don't know where that pace came from. Like I don't know even if they've stopped upgrades this weekend or whatever. But yeah, my opinion, like yeah, if you apparently save with this format, 3,500 tires, whatever it was a season, you do your sustainability checks and all shit like this, but you're getting qualifying performances like this, and you get a Lewis pole as well. Like, boy, hey, bring it on! Like, I'm down for that. But yeah, Rafa, I'm gonna come to you on this. What did you think of the new qualifying format, and what did you make of Lewis Hamilton's first pole in 33 races? Ironically enough.
You know what? Again, I came into it. I thought. I don't know about this one. I look even forgot before qualifying started that this was going on. So when I saw everyone on hard time, I was thinking, what am I cooking here? But you know what? It was right. It was good. And I kind of like the F1 are trying new things, even though some people might find it a bit annoying. But I like the F1 are trying to do new things. Obviously, they're trying to make it more, exciting, which is good. So I didn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, to be fair. Maybe not every race weekend, but on a random, I don't know. Let's say they skipped it for Spa, but done it in maybe like Japan or something later in the year. Then yeah, why not? Spice things up a little bit. And I like it. It's not bad at all. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. And as for the Lewis poll, I tweeted out literally like, what a lap. And I was watching the lap thinking, so I think Max had done his lap. I think Alonso came through, and then it was Norris, and then it was Hamilton, I think. And then I was watching the lap. And then they cut to Hamilton driving the last 2 corners, and I thought, oh, because he got a bit of understeer. It was the car wasn't really underneath him the last 2 corners. And we went over the line. Bro, I can't lie. I haven't heard Get In There, Lewis, for ages. So hearing that again was nice. That was a little throwback. And it was good. It was good for the sport to see one of the big names up there on pole again. It's been way too long, obviously, 33 races. And that's obviously not his fault, more mainly Mercedes' fault. But it was good. It was a phenomenal lap. And that's what Lewis does, plain and simple. He's arguably over one lap. He's arguably the fastest guy over one lap in the history of F1. So technically, we shouldn't really be surprised. But yeah, what a lap! And yeah, that's as I said, that's what one of the greatest, not just drivers, but one of the greatest sportsmen do. They pull things out of nowhere. If you had told me Mercedes were going to be on pole this weekend, I would have laughed at you. And that's a testament to the job that Hamilton did over that lap, because that lap was crazy. And I thought that in the last 2 corners that he might have messed it up, but even then, there was a little bit more pace probably in the car, and that just shows the first 2 sectors were absolutely mint from Hamilton. So yeah, what a lap! I was astonished. I won't lie.
Yeah, so I watched like a little animated side by side view of the laps together. Yeah, and Lewis was actually cooking, man, for like a good chunk of the lap. It was only to the last corner where he almost bottled it. That's why it was like 3,000th of a second. But really, should have been like a good, like maybe 2 attempts. Did I say it? 2-3 attempts, really, truly. So, because obviously he did, like, had a bit of a mistake as well in it. But Max had a few mistakes anyway, to be fair. So, really, truly, should have been a bit of a gap, really, truly.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, like, it was an amazing lap, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't have suspected, even though this is statistically now Lewis's best track, we wouldn't suspect it with the way that Mercedes is, that Lewis is going to get pole. But yeah, this is what the GOATs do, man. As you said, this is what the GOATs do. They'll pull out stuff like this. It's just, yeah. And also Twitter was a light, so you can't really complain, innit? Bit of joy in it.
Yes, I saw the Pitstop Fracas account was eating after that. I saw hella interactions. Yes, my boys are winning, of course. So listen, if Lewis wins and we're eating, man. We're eating.
Yeah, that's
fact. Whenever Lewis gets a pole win, it's just a good day. Honestly, it's a good day. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
Nah, for sure. Kwame, I'm coming to you on this. Alfa Romeo, they surprisingly qualified P5 and P7, sandwiching in our good friend Charles Leclerc. Guan Yu Zhou with a career high P5. Pretty astonishing work from Alfa Romeo. I mean, they're pretty quick, all of qualifying. Practice, I don't know. I didn't really much practice. So, what you make on their qualifying performance, and are you aware of why they were so quick on this track? Was it due to like upgrades, or was it just, I don't know?
So, like, with Alfa Romeo, it's a bit of a weird one because, like, they didn't have any upgrades in this track. That upgrade in Silverstone, but even in Silverstone, they were very meaty there. So the fact that they jumped from obviously Silverstone, however, and Hungary are completely different tracks. Hungary tends to be, a bit more slower corners compared to Silverstone, a bit more high, fast corners. And they also had a new power unit as well, both Bottas and Zhou, which again, it's a bit of a weird track to bring new power units to. And it's not really a power heavy circuit, but they still managed to do their thing. So I expect, listen, I'm not a fan of both drivers. I feel like that team, if they replace both drivers, they'll be a better team. And even with Zhao's lap, his last sector, he wasn't even that fast, quote unquote. So he could have even been higher. But listen, I can't, go into them. They sandwiched, Leclerc in the fast. He's always been good on his one lap pace. And yeah, Zhao was the fastest out of the Ferrari manufactured engine. So hands off to them in it.
Yeah, cool. Don't think there's any other. Oh yeah, McLaren, of course, McLaren. They qualified. What was it? P3 and P4. What's the saying? Is it P3 and P4? Wasn't it?
Yeah, P3 and P4.
Yeah. Okay, so Rafa, I want you to lightly touch on their performance as well. And are McLaren actually back, or is this just like a good purple patch, if you will?
It's interesting because after Silverstone, the whole agenda was like, or maybe just Silverstone suited their car. Maybe everything came together for them. But I think this weekend proved that they have a more well-rounded car than we all first thought. And as Kwame said, it's Hungary and Silverstone are two very, very different tracks. Obviously, in Silverstone, you've got the fast speed corners, which requires something totally different from when you're in Hungary, which is a bit slow speed. You need to get good traction out of the slower corners. And it seemed like there was no real drop-off. Actually, to be fair, okay, maybe they were slightly slower compared to Red Bull here. Well, quite a bit slower compared to Red Bull here. But yeah, they basically picked up where they left off from the last race. And I think, again, just like Lewis's pole yesterday, it's good to see McLaren back up there because it is a name that's revered in F1 history. So to see them up there challenging for podiums, maybe even a cheeky pole here and there, it's always good because, again, the big names bring people into the sport. The more people you get into sport, the better it is for F1. So, to see them up there doing well, Lando and Oscar as well. And the special mention to Oscar too. It's his first year in F1. And I think I've tweeted this out. I think he's been the best rookie in F1 since Hamilton. He's come in, even though Lando is, well, the superior driver by all the metrics, but he stood up much more than the experienced Daniel Ricciardo ever did in the McLaren. So yeah, hats off to McLaren, hats off to Oscar Piastri, and I just wanted to mention this. Lando and Oscar are both Fernando's boys. They both graduated from the school of Fernando Alonso. So to see them both do well, shining off, the tutelage of the Grandmaster is always good to see. So I'm just here to say now, after Alonso hangs up his race helmet and goes off to do dozen interviews for the rest of his career, F1 career, Oscar and Lando, they're both my boys. So I'm just gonna let you know now.
Okay, Rafa. What evidence do you have that Oscar and Lando are both disciples of Fernando? Is it something that you've seen, something that you've said? Like, what is it?
So obviously, Oscar last year was Fernando's understudy. Even Oscar said that last year was an eye-opening year for him. He actually grew quite a bit. I think it was an article. I don't know if it was on Beyond the Grid or something like that. But yeah, he mentioned that. And obviously, after Alonso vacated McLaren, his understudy was one Lando Norris. So the school for Fernando Alonso was well and alive. We were teaching people, we're getting them their grades, their GCSEs, their masters. You see, we're funding the next gen. This is what we do. This is what the greats do. We fund the next generation. So yeah, it's all good out here.
Too bad Lance Stroll is currently in clearing, but yeah, I hear it.
Hey,
yeah.
Don't worry. we're working with something. He's getting E's and F's in his tests right now. But don't worry. The E's and F's, they'll turn into B's and C's soon. Don't worry. We're working. We're doing something. It's a project, Rich. It's a project. Trust the process. Don't worry. Stroll will be cooking soon, I think. I hope, anyway.
That's it. I hope so.
I hope so.
I think for our sake, I hope so too. But boy,
so.
Listen, the bar's lower than hell for me when it comes to Lance Stroll. Don't worry, we'll get to Aston Martin. Yeah,
it's fine. We'll get there.
But cool. Right, okay, let's move on to none other than Red Bull. So, Red Bull broke a record today, and that is 12 wins in a row. And this stretches back to Abu Dhabi of last year, with Max taking 10 of those wins, if I'm right in saying, and Checo taking 2. So, I mean, it's inevitable. Like every single race weekend now, just Max get a win, or maybe even Checo getting a win, basically. So, Rafa, I'm actually come back to you on this. What did you think? Actually, no, I'm not going to say what you think of Red Bull this weekend. What do you think of Red Bull in terms of how do you think they're going to look for the rest of the season? Do you think they could potentially win every race? Which sounds bizarre, but it doesn't fully possible because I think Max won by 33 seconds today, which is actually outrageous, to be fair. And yeah, do you think Red Bull can absolutely have like a flat out sort of like season where they win every race? Because I think the highest conversion rate in terms of a team in terms of race wins in the season was McLaren with the MP4/4 in 88, but they won 15 out of 16 races. So in terms of not even in terms of percentages, do you think just in terms of race wins, do you think Red Bull can break even more records this season? Or do you think someone else will break that duopoly, if you will, of dominance from Red Bull?
I do believe it's possible they win every race this year. And the difference between last year and this year is the Red Bull seems a bit more well-rounded at tracks they theoretically shouldn't be good at. They won in Monaco, even when the delta between, I think it was Alonso and Max, was pretty small in terms of one lap pace, and obviously he won the race. But yeah, it's going to be tough for them to do it because at the end of the day, F1 is an unpredictable sport. And also the main difference between last year and this year is they seem to have zero liability issues. There's been no, parking up on the side of the road, getting off on lap 20 of the race. They've been quick throughout the race. Reliability is clear. And going to every race weekend, if everything goes to plan and there are no hiccups in this car, Max should win every race. So it is possible. But F1's a funny sport. Something's going to happen. I believe that maybe not even a DNF, but maybe a safety car comes out at the wrong time. Something always crops up, even when there's a dominant period. And this season is very, very funny because it reminds me of a season growing up when I was young, which was the 2004 season, when you had Schumacher, basically, he won the title in Belgium, which was like after 10 or 11 races, which probably Max is going to do something pretty similar. He's going to win it. I think in the net. I'm not sure, but he's not that far away in terms of actually just sealing it. He's not that far away. So, and what you've got in the 2004 season and this season is you've got a dominant car, but then you've got a melee of different teams just fighting out for the best of the rest. And do I think they'll win it every race? No, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did because Newey and the boys have cooked up a monster, really. Everyone's coming to this weekend saying, "Oh, this might be Red Bull's weakest weekend. They might, there might be a challenger here, rare. But this has actually probably been their strongest performance." And as for Max himself, I think the car, just in Hamilton's times, the car is dominant in Max's hands primarily. And that's what separates the great drivers and the good drivers is they'll take a car and they would push it to its limits, which Max is doing, what Hamilton's done, Vettel, Schumacher. When they've all had great cars, they've maximized it. And they shouldn't be penalized for maximizing the best traits of the car because they're driving it, of course. But no, I think they'll get close to it, but I think there might be one race where, Hamilton, Alonso, Lando, maybe Ferrari might cook one race. But yeah, no, but I think they'll get close. I think it might be another maybe 23 out of 24, 22 out of 24. Or is it 23 or 24 this year? I can't remember. But anyway.
I think it's 23. I think it is.
23.
Yeah,
it might be like 22 out of 23, 21 out of 23. But they'll get in. I'll be shocked if they don't win at least 20 races this year. Like, very shocked if they don't win 20. So yeah, they'll get close, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, let's move on to Mercedes then. Okay, so there was, of course, qualified on pole. George qualified P18. Quite shocking, to be fair. And of course, they finished P4 and P6. So it was a nice little recovery from George. So, Rafa, what did you think of Mercedes this weekend, and especially because of Lewis's unfortunate race start as well?
It's a really weird one because on one hand, obviously they got pole, and then they had a strategic blunder with Russell. But focusing in the race, obviously Hamilton, his actually initial getaway was good. And he challenged Max going into the first corner. Just with the positioning and stuff like that, he got left out to dry a little bit, and then obviously the McLarens got in front of him. But in the actual race, Mercedes showed some really good pace. The McLarens, I think, undercut them, and they were able to get their lead, extend it a little bit. But then in the second half of the race, Lewis flat out cooked in the second half of the race. He just cooked, obviously overtaking Piastri, I think, who had actually had some damage in the race, but still, he cooked. And it's weird. It's weird to say Hamilton had a good race, even though he lost 3 positions. It's weird, but I thought he drove brilliantly. Apart from the start, which really wasn't his fault. He drove faultlessly. He was quick. He had some good maneuvers. And as for George, again, similar. He had a great race. He was quick throughout, and getting P6 from starting that low. We got accommodations. For me personally, I rate his race more than Perez's, because obviously he got more positions, and yeah, he was just quick, and it wasn't outstanding, but it was just consistent pace lap after lap. So yeah, I think people on Twitter aren't really seeing the full picture of Mercedes. I think they are going in the right direction. Obviously, Silverstone was a good race for Lewis, and then coming here to Hungary, obviously didn't get a podium, but if we look at the numbers and the metrics, they are moving in the right direction. And I know people have high standards for Mercedes, obviously, after the decade they had. And obviously seeing McLaren come up that quickly, it is a bit, I think Mercedes fans are a bit miffed at how one team can prove so much. But I do believe they are slowly but surely heading in the right direction with the car, with everything. And look, it was only a couple of months ago in Bahrain where it felt like the end of the world for Mercedes. It felt like they're slowly falling back into the midfield. But as you can see, they've clearly got either the second or third best car. I think it's between them and McLaren right now, who's vying for second spot. And then you've got Ferrari and AM. So even though they didn't get a podium this weekend, I actually thought pace-wise and numbers-wise for Mercedes actually been a pretty decent weekend. They got a pole position. And then George and Lewis had both good races. So, yeah, a weird weekend, but I think Mercedes and their fans should come out of it thinking, you know what, we might have a decent car underneath us this weekend and going forward into the season. And I think they've also got upgrades coming up in Spa. So, yeah, I think things are trending up for Mercedes. Not as fast as some people would like, but it is slowly but surely trending up for them.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Kwame, I'm gonna ask you a bit of a left field question here.
Yeah.
Do you think if we brought back refuel and Mercedes would be title contenders?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right. So no, okay. Let me give you context. Let me give you context why I asked that. The reason why I say that is because when towards the end of the race, right, like the last, what was it, maybe like 10 laps, something like that, Rafa, 10, 15 laps, like Mercedes were like cooking, like hard. And that was when obviously the car was lighter and the fuel was low, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So compared to at the start of the race. So what I'm saying.
Okay, I get it right now.
Yeah. If we brought back refueling, where obviously the car doesn't need to be as heavy, will Mercedes be cooking right now?
Yeah, potentially could be. I mean, that's one thing they've been struggling with is actually added way onto their car. But I mean, if that's the case, I feel like any of the other teams around them would have a similar thing where, you know, there will be like, on theory, you're right. To be fair, with what you're trying to say, I do hear you. But I feel like they were saying I feel like the main issue with Mercedes was obviously Rafa's giving them their props. I think the issue is, like you said, their fans got expectations, and also how quickly they drop down is kind of the issue in a sense of when it was Lando last race in Silverstone, he held the position, he held his own. Lewis, when he was in the same position, dropped down the field. Obviously, he didn't drop down as low as, you know, it was expected per se. But the fact they were losing what by the first lap round pit stops, they lost 9 seconds on the leader. By the time he did qualify P1, yes, we know Max is clear, but I guess like in comparison to the McLarens, it's disappointing. But like I said, they did get better in the lot towards the end, so it possibly could be a thing where they're fueling it. I don't know with Mercedes. I feel like we need to see what will happen with their next rounds of updates coming in Belgium, and then we see for that. But okay, I agree with Rafa. I feel like they're making the right progress, but it's not fast enough to where they want to be. They want to be challenging with Red Bulls, not with the Ferraris or even McLarens.
Right. Okay. No, I agree. They're going to step in the right direction ever since they've, of course, added side pods. To be fair, but are they making enough progress to satisfy his fans? No, they're not. But I suppose fans have got to be patient. But I understand, obviously, with McLaren, with their developments, Aston Martin at the start of the season, why there is such a big frustration in terms of how can a big organization like Mercedes have the drop on them, if you will, to be fair. But we'll move on to another customer team that's got the drop on Mercedes, and that is McLaren. P2 and P5 today for McLaren. Leaps and bounds to what we've seen in Bahrain, Kwame, when they was thinking out to the back. So, I'm going to come to you on this, Kwame. Are McLaren Bizarre?
Hey, they're back, man. They're busy. Like, I'll be honest, man. They're back. I was the one saying the last pod that I've got to wait to Hungary to see where they are now, and they did prove me wrong. I give it, man. They went from Mirinda cans to old school Fanta bottles. They've upgraded, man, and I respect it. I mean, that start from Oscar. Hey, I'll go give props to him because the way he just cut down the inside. That's a very mature drive. In the sense of he over to Lewis, over to Lando. He was literally all to all with Max as well. And then he had that first round where I thought to myself, unfortunately for Oscar, I thought he would get a podium today. I thought today is his day. I feel like, cool, he's going to get a podium. Unfortunately for him, he got undercut by Lando, and then the team from there kind of favorited Lando in terms of strategy. But yeah, no, they're honestly they're back to get no P2 now for Lando in 2 races in a row from when they were in Bahrain, where we used to all of them out in Bahrain. They were probably the worst car in Bahrain in the point that the car just looked heavy, was not braking properly. It was just compared to the Red Bull, which just kind of flew around the corners. To now them basically being the best of the rest is quite an achievement, and I guess it's testament for them seeing what's wrong with the car last year and then saying we're going this direction, and it's paid off.
No, yeah. McLaren, they've came out leaps and bounds to the point where I feel like the car's illegal. Because are you telling me half upgrade and it's like they were cooking like that in Silverstone? And I think because I don't know if they were meant to bring upgrade this race and they delayed it, I think.
So what they've been doing some like weird kind of staggered updates. So
it was 50% at Silverstone.
And then Silverstone, and then I believe Hungary and then Belgium, and that's it. So they've staggered it out because this was meant to be, this car now is their B spec. So it's really truly, I think they've only developed it from like December, Christmas time onwards. Because they scrapped last year's car, but they didn't have time to bring this car. So that's what they have for the first half of the year. Now this half of the year, they're just kind of staggering and upgrades. I feel like either Hungary, Belgium, like last time, and then that's it, they're done.
Yeah, no, for sure. Rafa, I'm going to come to you on this. What did you make of McLaren overall, and what did you make of Lando's race, and how? I think if you said before me, and how much do you rate Oscar Piastri? I know, of course, he finished P5, but he confessed this on Twitter that he actually had damage because you're supposed to hit target laps, and I don't think he was hitting them because, he ended up being, I think, like 30 seconds behind Lando, but. Of course, I think he got floor damage maybe from Checo, but I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah, what do you think of McLaren this weekend? And how much did you rate Lando's drive this weekend also?
I think McLaren had a great weekend again. From where they come from, and this is why I do like these new regulations, is because you're seeing now a team could be 8th, 9th, doing nothing, and then they can 1 or 2 upgrades, and they can shoot up to the well, not 1 or 2 upgrades, but they can change things within the season, and so and because the field spread is so tight, excluding Red Bull, because it's so nip and tuck between 5 or 6 teams, you can do that. But not to take anything from McLaren, they've done their due diligence, and yeah, on Lando's performance again, just like last weekend, quick, faultless. Yeah, there's not much I can say on Lando, and again, I've always there's always been this debate on Twitter between Lando and Charles, who's the better driver. Obviously, one's been more successful because he's probably been better at machinery, but the reason why I prefer Lando is he gives you that pace, he gives you that consistency that Leclerc struggles with. Leclerc can be quick over 1 lap, he can be quick over a race weekend, but then next weekend he can drop a stinker out of nowhere. And that's why I think Lando for me is the better driver going forward, I believe. But again, quick, faultless. Yeah, he's really impressed me. Obviously, thought he was always talented, but he's really impressed me in terms of just the way how mature he is driving in the car, and how good of an actual racer is, regardless of pace, just actual racing. So yeah, I've been really impressed, and obviously, as an Alonso School graduate, it's good to see that. It's good to see him forward in the brand. So yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, forward in the brand. I hear that. I hear that. Right, let's move on to the Scuderia, and that is Ferrari. P7 for Charles, PA for Carlos. I mean, wasn't a great day for Ferrari, but I don't know if he said he had a stinker, to be fair, because they kind of ended up where maybe they should have been, I guess. I don't. Maybe it should have been a bit higher. I don't really listen to Xavi and them on there, to be honest with you, and Fred. But yeah, Leclerc. I mean, not really so much for his performance today, but the 5-second penalty just like, fam. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I love to get onto Charlotte, but apart from that, I'm kind of feeling off scraps here because I don't know what else he could have done. Because then he still finished a bit ahead of his teammates, 5-second penalty, which is quite shocking for me. We know Carlos's cheeks, but like, you know what I mean? Like, he's still like a good, I think, 7 points ahead in the standings. So, yeah, not the greatest of days for Ferrari, but yeah, Kwame, I'm coming to you on this. What did you make of Ferrari's overall performance this weekend? And was that 5 seconds deserved for sure?
So the weekend for me again was, I feel like they are kind of, so you've got Red Bull, you've got McLaren, you've got Mercedes. That's kind of top 3 now. I feel like Ferrari kind of just below, and they're in that position where they're not gonna get like top 6 really truly. They're not gonna be in that position. They'll be just below. So them getting 7th and 8th, I think is relatively fair for their car, to be fair. Yeah, cool. George and Perez both had recovery drives where you think that on paper Ferrari should be ahead of them, but they've got a faster car, so it's not going to do anything. And then with Leclerc, his penalty is, I'll say it's, I would say it's deserved personally. For what we did with I'll say deserved. I'll say deserved. Yeah, I'll say deserved personally.
Man's lost for words.
It's
Man's lost for words.
It's not a bozo thing, man. Like,
nah, I hear it.
That's simple, man. Like, just you go in, you have a limiter, you have a speed you must not go past, and it's like, come on, man, that's just common sense. The driver, everyone knows if you go fast in the pit lane, you're gonna get penalized one way. So I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? Obviously I understand. Like when you come into the pits, you want to attack the line in it. You want to be as close to the line as possible before you have to like hit that pit limiter. But this is not the first time Ferrari had this issue. Sainz done it in Silverstone. Like you're locking up, and then you're hitting the limiter, but you're still like a couple kilometers ahead. Like, okay, Rafa, I'm gonna come to you on this shit. Does Leclerc have a strong Bozo gene, or is this just a isolated instance? Because we've seen at the start of the season, you know, Rafa, me and you, we'd like to watch certain man, how they move, make sure they don't get away with nothing. At the start of the season, Leclerc was doing a lot of mistakes. He was doing a lot of mistakes. Even for his standards, they were quite high. I know we had a good performance in Baku, blah, 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 but you can do that. You can, you can have a sort of like a period of honkers and then be like, you know what? I'm going to go into the studio and release a track so I can trick you lot so that you don't criticize me. You know, he's deadly good at deflecting. He's a smart kid. He's a deadly smart kid because he just eats it up. You know, after, what was it, Australia had a honker. Was in a gravel trap. Released a track. Then it was Miami, I think it was. I think he had a honker there, I think, and they released another track. But he stopped going to the studio, so it's a bit like, I don't know if he can't pay for no beats no more, or like he doesn't get proper engineers in. I don't know. Like it's a bit. I'm almost getting concerned. Like the Spotify isn't. Now I'm saying. So, Rafa, do we think is Charles? And I asked 2 questions. Does Charles have a Bozo gene, and is he having a bad season, or is there more context to this season that he's having?
Firstly, Charles, if you're somehow watching this somewhere in Budapest right now, I'm just saying shout out to you. And if you wanna get some good beats, holla Metro Boomin, holla other man, they got some good beats for you there. You know, I'm just saying, holla. There's Bear Man. Because I'm just saying, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm a brother, Charles.
Leclerc was on, nigga.
Exactly. Bro, there's bears. There's loads of beats, bro. There's loads of beats. Like I'm telling you, there's different kind of waves and reflexes. Exactly. Honestly, heart to heart, I'm trying to help you out. I am. So use Metro Boomin. Please change it up. But on a real note, does he have a Bozo gene? Yes. For me, I 100% believe he does. And that does not take away from ability. Before Ferrari Twitter finds this and cooks me indefinitely, I believe Charles Leclerc is a supremely talented driver. Don't get me wrong. He is supremely talented. If he's in the right car, he can definitely win a world championship. Don't get me wrong. He is supremely talented. Don't just please hear that before you start calling me, so you start dropping Banculos in my mentions. Please, just listen to me. Hear me out. Yeah. Is Charles having a bad season? Yes, he is. And he's, you know what? It's a bit of a lag over from 2022, in my opinion. I think the first couple of races he was cooking, he was doing his thing. And then as Red Bull ramped up the pressure, as they started to catch and then pass Ferrari in terms of pace, you see mistakes. You see what happened in France, especially, which is egregious. Leading the race, you just lost it for no reason. No one was near you. There was literally just oxygen, tarmac, and you bend it. And even there's tarmac to help you stop crashing into that bit as well. You know, where France has the red and the blue tarmac, and he still went helter-skelter into the barriers. And he's having a bad season, in my opinion. And I understand working on the Ferrari, all the showbiz, all the drama around working for Ferrari, and obviously the bad strategy. I understand that. Listen, as an Alonso fan, I've seen all of that firsthand. I've seen the strategy mistakes, all the nonsense that can come around with that. But he is making too many mistakes at inopportune times. We saw it happen in Australia, Miami. I think he's feeling the pressure, and I think with Leclerc is it's not that he's a bad driver. I think he's trying too hard. I think he's almost trying to overdrive the car. And when you try to do that, when you're always on the limit, you're more prone to making mistakes. So I think, you know, that term in football where you just take what the defense gives you. Take what the defense gives you. Take what the car gives you. Don't try and do too much. He's got too much chip on the dip at the moment. He's got the Dorito in his hand, and he put the whole Dorito, and even to where his thumb is in the salsa dip, and he's taken it out, and the chip breaks, and it's still stuck in there. That's Leclerc's problem in a nutshell. He's doing too much. I think he just needs to take a step back and say, okay, this is what I've got to work with. The car maximum today is P4, so I'm going to try and get P4. No more than that. Obviously, if you can get P3, do it. But I think he's trying to do too much. But as I said, he's talented. We've all seen what he can do. I just think he needs to take a step back, take a breathe in, and then go. And that's his issue. Obviously, he got shagged today by Ferrari with that pit stop too. And as I repeated, working for Ferrari is a hazard. Like it's like having a bad boss. You know, when you ask your boss to book off that holiday you asked 6 months ago, and you go back and your holiday is in 2 weeks' time. You ask him again, he's like, boss, so you know I'm off next week, yeah? I was like, oh, I forgot about that. And you spent hella peas on going to Cancun, doing stuff with a couple gal, and then now you're gonna be stuck.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're gonna be stuck in the office 9 to 5 when you could have been just listening to tunes in Mexico.
Gonna forget.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Brother.
And so working for Ferrari, I want to make this clear. Working for Ferrari as a driver, it is bad, and so I understand what he's in, but he's also doing too much.
Here's the thing I don't get though, Charles, because so when you first joined 2019, if you saw the way he was driving, he was always pushing it to the next limit than he need to, but it was work for him then. So I've never seen someone who didn't have a Bodo gene theoretically when they were younger, and now they're older, they do the same thing, and they got a Bodo gene kicking in as well. So I agree with you in the sense that we've seen before he puts too much pressure on the car and he just goes off or whatever. But I also think it's pressure as well, because I feel like, especially last year, I think I'll give you a feeling like last year, I feel like everyone got saying, going on up to it, this could be Charles' year, it's going to be Ferrari's year, it's all the pressure on Bonotto as well, it's going to be their year. And especially at the beginning of the season where they were winning, Bahrain they won, Saudi second, Australia won that, first few races they were cooking. Even up, I believe, to Miami, Spain, Monaco, that part of the calendar, they were cooking. After that, that's when Red Bull turned the gears and went off. And I don't know if it's like mentally with him or it's just because he's doing a lot to kind of make up for where Ferrari should have been. That's kind of come down this season, and now it's to the point where it's his own detriment, where he's just doing stuff that he doesn't need to do. Because, like I said, he's a driver there. He's talented. He's a talented driver. I'm not going to hate. He's a fast guy. One lap pace has always been there. His overtakes, when he does it right, it comes off well. But, there's certain times, certain things he does have to do, and he just does it. And it's affecting, his season.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a mental thing, to be honest. I think I had this conversation with someone else on Twitter, not too long ago. When he's dealt with, how to put it, certain situations of sadness, if you will, he's cooked. So you remember, what was it, Spa? I think it was 2019. Yeah, Spa 2019 where he won. Yeah. Then there was another race where I think his dad died, something like that. It was a Spa.
We're talking about that. He lost his dad young. He's lost his godfather young. So he's gone through.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of people around him. Yeah, exactly. He's lost a lot of people around him, and he hasn't let that affect him too much, whether it be short term or long term. But in scenarios where, because obviously we don't know his life outside of F1, eventually what it goes through. Scenarios where, as far as we are aware in terms of the public, where shit's been okay, inverted commas, he's had almost head loss, if you will. Say, for example, Imola last year, where he was stationed after Checo, and he's taken too much care, and he's ended up hitting the wall, Why? I think even I'm sure Lando. I think Lando got a podium that race, didn't he? Yeah, he did, didn't he? I think
Yes,
he did.
he did. Yeah,
I'm sure Lando watched that clip back in the cool down room and said, "Why is he taking so much curb?" And I'd say even other drivers I could see and analyze that you're fucking up. And so, of course, as France as well, I'll say with France, what Shaw did there, Max has never done ever, ever. Well, sure, you put him in that position, and he's been in it. And people making memes about you saying that the where he went off, you can take a plane off and stuff like that, and doing in flight simulator, like it's crazy. So it's like I don't even know if it's a mental thing. I just think it's like it's something else that we just don't have the answer to because it doesn't make sense. Like it really doesn't. I don't know if he's one of them where it's like he needs to be angry, to drive well or something like that. But like it's just it's go on.
One thing. The reason why I think it might be a mental thing is because I remember I think what race it was someone last year. Or no, it started this year or last year. But he got a mental coach to help him through these situations. So he's been working with someone in these like high pressure situations. And the weird thing about Leclerc is the weirdest thing is from his Sauber days to I say about even through 2021 and 2020 that where I felt he built up his reputation of being next up. He dealt with pressure pretty well. I remember watching Monza where he had Hamilton all over him. He used a bit of dark arts there to obviously get away from Hamilton, and then obviously he had Bottas on him there as well, and that is a lot of pressure. That is Ferrari at home in a Ferrari that can win a race, and he done it. So he knows what to do in pressurized situations. I just think that whole 2022 kind of vibe is still hanging over him, and I'm gonna put like my head on the line and say he needs to leave Ferrari. He needs to get out of that environment. I don't think that environment is conducive for Leclerc being successful in F1 for too long. He might have spots in here and there, where he might cook, but I think he needs to be in more of a controlled environment where he's got the right people around him, and so he becomes more consistent. And seriously, that's all it needs. Because as a driver, I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy. I think he's class. I genuinely do. But I think he's in the wrong. I believe he's at the wrong team. And I know Ferrari's is his heart, but he's got to do what Steven Gerrard didn't do and leave Liverpool at the right time. Gerrard should have left in 05. He should have left. Chelsea was there. He would have won Champions Leagues and won titles. Leclerc, I know Ferrari's your home, but boy, sometimes he got listen. The bird's got to flap its wings and fly away. G, got open. Listen, speak to. Listen, this is what Leclerc needs to do. Get out of the studio now, immediately, and go chat to your agent. Go speak to your agent and be like, bro, I'm paying you this amount of money each year, and I'm still in this position. Find me another team to drive. Seriously, listen, all these notes you're dropping, they're all good. I'll never listen to your music, by the way, but I'm just saying, all the notes you're dropping.
Kill me, man. Oh my God.
All the notes you're dropping, it's all good. But the notes you're paying to your agent, he's scamming you. Bro, find somewhere else to drive. Ferrari is not the place for you to be. I'm being genuinely serious. Find somewhere else to go. Listen, if Lance Stroll doesn't cook, I'll chat to him and try and get you in there. Maybe we might cook with you there. But seriously, on the road note, I think he needs to leave Ferrari. I don't think that's the place for him. Every race is on the blower to his engineers saying, why are you doing this? This, and this. He's passively aggressively arguing with his engineers. Every race. Like, I think he needs to go. I genuinely think he needs to leave Ferrari. Ferrari it doesn't help. Vettel went there, Alonso went there. If there's not John Todd, if there's not Ross Brawn, Ferrari's not Ferrari. They're not that team. Without those two, it's not gonna work. Vettel, a 4-time world champion, Alonso, a 2-time world champion, went there with high expectations, and they both left disappointed. Charles Leclerc same thing's gonna happen to him. He's gonna leave there disappointed, and I think he needs to leave. I don't know when his contract's up, but chat to your agent before you get into the studio. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
It had to be said.
Hey,
It had to be said.
I give it a platform to cook, bro. Especially when
sorry.
it comes to Charles Hunter. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Other people may not, but I will, bro. I stand with bro.
I stand with bro. Come on, man. Come on,
Funny
Charles.
thing, though, with McLaren, it's that like, bro, the man. So they brought in Vazur as well, who's known him since he was younger, ART, to basically be the person who, if anything that Charles wants, Charles gets, sort of thing. And it still hasn't really worked out the way he wants to be. And like they even put him on the contract only ends up in 2024, but he was given a definite 5-year contract at the time at 2019. So basically next year, the last year. So we'll see what happens with that. In terms of if he goes possibly Audi, if he stays a Ferrari, I don't know. But yeah, next year's the last year, so we'll see what happens with that.
This is the final thing I want to say on McLaren. Final thing. You know when you're in a relationship with a team and you genuinely love her. You love her to bits. But you're just things are not going right. They're not going how you're supposed to be. And then you leave, and then you find the next team that has everything you need. That's what Charles is in. He's in a bad relationship. He's in a bad relationship. Toxic relationship. He needs to leave, man. He needs to leave. If he doesn't leave, his next song will be a remake of Marvin's Room. That's what will happen if he stays there. He'll be singing like Drake in Marvin's Room if he stays at Ferrari. I'm telling you.
Cups of Ferrari.
Exactly. Exactly. I have
seen for too long.
You see what I mean. Man. Anyway, Charles,
listen,
keep doing the same, my bro. We feel sorry for you. We know what you're going for.
I don't. Rest in piss. Listen. Hey, listen. Charles the Ferrari. Red Bull. I need to see it happen. I need to see it happen. The streets need that.
I will be there.
Listen, Charles, if you really bout it, you'll take that Red Bull seat. I know 2025, they've got, was it Lando, Charles on the radar, and maybe Danny Rick. Listen, if you really bout it, especially once your contract runs out, I think 2024, you go to Red Bull. Say, Max, I'm going to stick it on you. He won't, but he needs to say, Max, I'm going to stick it on you, bro.
Hey, the final thing is, think about this storyline, this narrative. So he's at Ferrari right now. You know, Red Bull have that Ford partnership cooking coming up. Imagine him going over to Red Bull and cooking in a Red Bull Ford. You know how Ford and Ferrari are big ops. Come on, man. Come on, man. Leclerc, this is WWE storylines we got ready for you. Chat to your agent immediately, my friend. Please. Imagine that. He's standing up there, Monegasque anthem playing, and Austrian anthem playing after that in a Red Bull with a big Ford in his chest, patting that, kissing the badge in front of the Ferrari guys. Come on, man, Charles. Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract. Come on, man.
You know, I see it, I forgot, for the Ferrari start beef. Oh, that makes so much sense. They might facilitate that,
Come on.
Anyways, let's move on. Enough on Charles. Most airtime he's ever got on the show. Let's pod. Let's move on to some sad shit. Robin on Marvin's Room. Aston Martin. Rafa, brother. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've hosted. It's been a while since you've been on the pod. Shit's been going south, brother. Ever since Alonso made that comment, it's the last time I get the podium. Howler. I don't have acceptable answers. Like YNW Melly, you got a mistrial.
Yeah.
I cannot how to put it. I don't have the answers, bro. Simple as I don't have the answers. I'm blaming upgrades. I'm blaming new tires. I'm blaming Stroll somehow. Boy, I don't have the answers, bro. I'm blaming factory. We haven't moved in properly yet. because we're doing 3 phases. I think we've only done phase 1. I think wind tunnels in phase 3. I don't know. I need to fact check that. But Rafa, I need you to break down why are we looking mid? Why Alpha and Mate are qualifying us, bro? Why Williams got chapped for us? Logan Sargent, fucking what's a kilometer? Why is that youth chatting to us? It's why, man.
If he ever says that again, that's a race ban. Kilometer.
The fuck is a kilometer?
In 60 odd years of this grand sport, kilometer being used must be the lowest point in this history's kilometer. Please spare me. Please. Gee. Listen, let me put it like this. I'm using the relationship thing again. You know, when you get with a new thing, you're happy. You know, everything's good, everything's going nice. You know, everything's sweet. You're taking out for dinner, doing all your doing everything's sweet. And then you start seeing the red flags. And do you know what the red flag for me was? So I looked on my phone.
The DMs.
Kind of. Yeah. I did, unfortunately. But
you see Kwame in there, you feel, shit.
I know.
This. That's your fault.
I felt like letting it out the window, I swear. But I saw that, you know how the Aston Martin put out their their race results, P9, P10, and I scrolled down. And it's never a good sign when you scroll down and you see Spanish comments in their paragraphs. Because if you see the Spanish comments on the paragraphs, and you don't even need to hit Google Translate, you know. So from then on, I knew we were in trouble. But let me speak to my. Exactly. 4K. Listen, I was seeing El Tractor. I was like, no.
El Tonka truck.
I was like, no, this can't be happening. But let me speak to my Aston Martin. Let me reassure you, okay? We've had 2 bad races, even though I think we've had 3 or 4. And Spain was in there. Austria was kind of a funny race. Fine, we've had 2 bad races, but let me reassure you, this midfield thing. 1 week you can be here, next week you can be from there. We done a remix. We started from here, now we're there. We didn't start from the bottom. We don't start from the bottom, now we're here. It started from the top, now we're here. That's what's happened to us. And it is sad. We are still picking up points here and there, measly points, but still points. But yeah, I think it's a combination of upgrades. I do think maybe the tyre things started to maybe change things as well, because I saw a tweet saying there's something to do with the tyre temperatures. We have to lift and coast a bit too much since Silverstone and now Hungary. So maybe the tyres have come into play as well. But the season is still young, my friends. We still have time. There's still time. We've got hopefully an upgrade coming up in Spa. And this my only worry. They will say we got upgrades coming up next race, but they don't come. We'll do it again in another race. So I don't know what the upgrade strategy is really, but there's still time. There's no panic stations. We're not Ferrari. We don't do panic. We're gonna keep calm, and we'll be fine. Okay, we're picking up points. Alonso's still doing this thing, not P3s and P4s and P2s, maybe P6s and P7s, but it's fine. We'll get through it and we'll be fine. Don't worry. There's no fuego. There's no fire. It's all calm and collected. We'll be fine. But yeah, it is a little bit worrying though, I will say. But getting to the real crux situation, I do think firstly Silverstone didn't suit us, and then here should have suited us, but I don't think the upgrades are really upgrading to the point where they want it to be. Maybe some issue with the sidepod configuration. So yeah, it is tough at the moment, but as I said, things can change in F1 quite quickly. McLaren went from being the 8th fastest car to being the 2nd fastest car like that. And I said the midfield spread is pretty tight, so things can change instantly. So I'm not too worried. I am concerned. Like that guy who was like, that concerns me a little bit, you know. But I packed that thing too, you know. So he come around this way, he will get. Listen, we still pack that thing too. So just watch out for us. We will be back at some point this season. I don't know when, but we will be back. But yeah, it's been a tough couple. We're in the trenches right now, but we'll be back.
Listen, Monza, yeah. I think we'll be back. Let me tell you why I think Monza will be back here. So Monza's the first race back after the summer break, yeah. So I've noticed since last year, when we have a bit of a break, we've got time to cook.
Yeah.
We've got time to cook.
Yeah.
Last year, summer break, we went from like, what, 8th fastest car, whatever it was. And we was dancing with, you know, like McLaren and shit. We was like 3rd, 4th, 5th fastest. Track dependent. We was like cooking. Like, take Suzuka, for example, like, you know, Vettel and Alonso to the line, like shit like that. That proper F1 heritage. Exactly. I thought, okay. We bought, because obviously when we brought in Dan Fallows, we changed to the B spec and at Spain, but it wasn't really like slapping like that. It was only till we had like a good break and Eric came in from Mercedes. That's when I say, okay, come to play in it.
Yeah.
See, you look at the off season, we went from like 6 second fastest because we had a bit of a break. I say summer break here, when we kind of move into the new factory a bit. Yeah. When we got time to like dissect, we're like, okay, are we doing it wrong with these upgrades? Because I feel like we're almost trying to become like Red Bull, like very balanced everywhere, rather than just rely on our strengths.
Yeah.
Because we're steady good in like slow and medium speed corners, aren't we? And I'm not really seeing that over the last few races.
Yeah.
So I think if we go back to that, I think we should be okay. At least we're upgrading in the right direction.
Yeah, not wrong. Yeah, we don't want to downgrade. I do think that is the case. We got some breakers, 4 weeks. Like we got time. And yeah, as I said, the season's still. What was this race? Was this the 10th race? 11th race? I
think it's 10th race. Yeah, something along
so
that line.
We still got 13 races to go. The season is a long way from being over. So I'm again not too worried. I think we still got quite a bit coming up in the pipeline. So yeah, don't worry. Listen, you Mercedes, McLaren guys, have your fun now. Yeah, I'm here to tell you that the green machines will be back. Well, the green machine will be back, because I don't know what Lance is doing, but the green machine will be back soon. Okay, the lone green wolf will be back. So just wait on us. Just wait on us.
Just wait on us.
Just wait on us, man.
Don't worry, Rafa. We'll eat again this season. Don't worry. Race win.
We'll eat.
We're coming. Max, we're coming for you. We're coming for you, bro.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
You think you can get 23 out of 23 on our head tops? Nah. We got certain loading for you, G. We got certain loading.
My crack cocaine. I believe in you. I believe in you, bro.
That's my German. That's my German right there. That's my German, man.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to none other than Kwame's favorite driver, Daniel Ricciardo. So, Daniel Ricciardo made a triumphant return this weekend with AlphaTauri. Even though in the off season, he was like, if we're going to come back to want to run a race for a top team, blah, blah, blah. But I think that Daniel's trying to make a long play for the Red Bull seat. He thought, okay, probation, I've got AlphaTauri, I'll try cook Yuki somehow. And then maybe I'll be able to oust Checo. I see what he's doing. He's moving smart, isn't it? So I think he qualified P13 and finished P13 as well. Yeah, that's correct. So, Kwame, what did you think of Danny Ricciardo's whole overall performance this weekend?
It was decent. I'm not gonna hate. He outcovered for Yuki. I mean, that's what you got to do. If you want to see your teammates, it's your best source of competition. So you have to be your teammate, which you did. I mean, like I said, Daniel qualified P13. Yuki himself only qualified P17. So the fact that Daniel made it out of Q1 the first time after I believe made it in 4 or 5 races. So it's been a while since I've actually gotten out of Q1, so that says a lot in what he did. And then with his race, he was unlucky to get tangled at the beginning with Zhao. So he was one of the few, him and then the Alpines of Ocon and Gasly. Luckily for Danny Rick, even though he got impacted, it wasn't as bad compared to the Alpines who they had to DNF because both had rear wing issues after that. And then, he held his own in the first round pit stops. He got up to P9 at one point, which caused a certain cast member to move a bit prematurely on Twitter. And then went to hards, and then he favored him the last set of mediums he cooked. The last set of mediums, I believe he was one of the longest ones on the sets of mediums towards the end, Ricardo. And then that's what got him up to finish back in P13. Because there's one point where I believe after the first set of pit stops, he was down to like P20 and he was far off the grid at the back. So listen, if you're one of the guys who's a big Danny Rick fan, DR3, Rafa, Australia, all that flag, all that stuff, Netflix diehards, he's not going to be scoring points like he was in Renault days or Red Bull days. So you've got to watch out for the midfield battles to see how it goes on. And he was decent. Like, he did what he needed to do. He wasn't doing up and beyond, wasn't in the points, anything like that. But out confidence team, out his teammate. He was like 2 or 3 times faster than Yuki as well. So, he's doing it's only one race so far, but he's done the bare minimum that's needed for him to be like in contention for a seat elsewhere, which is the whole point why he's here.
Yeah, I suppose Danny Rick had a decent race, to be fair.
It's just decent. It's like, it's like a 6 out of 10. That's the thing. It'd be like a 6 out of 10. Like, if you're going to rate it, average standards, it's what you expect, isn't it? Like, not spectacularly voice. So.
Yeah, but hopefully Yuki cooks his ass because I don't like that he's back on the grid because you've seen the field last. Yeah,
listen. If Yuki gets my dynamic, I'm finished. My whole business, fam, we were finished.
Yeah, it's literally. Do you know what? AlphaTauri's probably got the best storyline this season now because it's literally the case of do or die for both drivers. Because if Yuki loses, the narrative is, you let a guy who's out for 7 months, whatever, beat you. If you're letting a wash Danny Rick beat you, you're not that guy. Then the narrative is Yuki beats Danny Rick. That's like, oh my god, Danny Rick's cooked. He can never be in a Red Bull ever again. So it's literally like, do you know what I mean? Obviously, Danny Rick's 1-0 up now, but that's what I've said. It's a long season. We'll see how things play out. Hopefully, Danny Rick can start to have some stinkers because I need his fans muddled. His fans are too happy right now. It's just, I do not like it. I don't. This is supposed to be F1 heritage. We don't need sunflower sort of shit where to Post Malone and Sway Lee. We don't need that sunflower shit in the sport. You get what I'm saying? Like, but you know what? Let me chill.
One thing I found funny though was that Avatar, them pit stops, they were trying their best here to sabotage both drivers' races. They were trying their best, man.
Listen. I'm not one of Danny Rick's biggest fans. I'll say that now. I've cooked him relentlessly since he went up with Lando. So I cooked him. I said him on that app called Twitter. But you know what? He impressed me this weekend because his main objective was to be better than Yuki this weekend, and he was, frankly. And now, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about Danny Rick. I'm going to look over at Yuki Tsunoda. How can you let this guy come into your house, sit on your table, put his feet up on your coffee table, and eat your own food in front of you? You're not going to do nothing about it. You know that Michael Irwin video where he's like, "What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let anybody come into your house, take your meal. What are you going to do today?" Listen, Yuki, this is out to you. It's a long season, don't get me wrong. But this is not good. You let a guy who is on tag beat you in his first race. Danny Rick is on tag, by the way. He's on tag. He's on the house arrest, basically. He's on tag. And you let him beat you on his first day back. How can a guy be better than you when he's on tag? That doesn't make sense. Come on, Yuki. Don't let me down because I like you, bro. I like Yuki Tsunoda. I think he's got game, but this is not what I want to see. Especially being a prime hater of Daniel Ricciardo. Step up, Yuki, please. Don't let this happen again. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends, bro. Please. Don't embarrass me. That's all I got to say on the matter.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see how this battle pans out. But boy, I'm scared, man. Yuki, I need you to rise up, brother. For the sake of the nation, for the sake of everyone.
Rise, please, Yuki, rise, my brother, please, because as Rich said, this sport is about nuts and bolts. It's about oil. It's about carbon fiber. I'm seeing too much happiness from one side of Twitter. I'm not gonna name names, but I'm seeing too much happiness from one side of Twitter, and I don't like it. Okay, too much smiling. Please, Yuki, do something about it. I trust in you. I believe in you. Don't let this happen again. Otherwise, there will be consequences.
Big consequences still. Okay, so let's move on to the rest of the grid. So we've already spoken about 5 of the teams on the grid. Alpine doesn't want to speak on double DNF for the holder. So we're sorry, Kwame.
Oh,
so we're
man. Blame that guy, man. Honestly, man.
Man. Right. So I'm gonna open the floor though to either of you guys if you want to speak on the rest of the 4 other teams. Of course, Alpha has Williams and the other half AlphaTauri. Yeah. Any point it takes.
The rest of them were NPCs this race. They were just NPCs. They weren't there. But I can't lie. I didn't even know Williams.
Ice cream so good.
Exactly. Bro, I didn't even know. Bro, I can't lie. I didn't even know Williams were racing this weekend, to be fair. All I saw was Sargent brought a yellow flag a little bit. Williams sponsors this weekend are Vex. They got no coverage. Listen, apart from Sargent's moment, they got no coverage. So I ain't got much to say in the rest of the team, to be fair. They were just there filling numbers. That's it.
Hey, I mean, let's know. Albon, no, another P11. Another guns off him, to be fair, just with the points. So
he got P11. See, I didn't even know that. He got P11. I didn't even know.
P11. Just by sure. So,
hey, go on. Hey, man. Hey, Albon, you know, Albon. I've been watching him closely. I'm just
he did WhatsApp as well. So he went for the mediums to hards, and he just long down in the hards, and So another one.
Albon's cooking up a nice meal over there.
That's Cap Kwame. You didn't do 1 stop, you done 2 stop.
My bad, sorry, but he did 2 hards.
He went mediums to hards to hards.
Yeah, I read that wrong, sorry, man. My good.
Hey, Kwame, you lying to the masses now? Huh?
No, he got long on the second set of hards.
You lying to the crowd out here. Come on, what's going on?
My grid that was wrong. My bad, man.
What? Your driver's rage quitting after turn 1 was too much for you? Huh?
Nah, again, they didn't rage quit.
Hey, listen. See, at Aston Martin, our drivers actually help each other. They don't crash into each other. They don't do double DNF.
I mean, to be fair, Gasly had no room. He just had nowhere to go.
Well, that sounds like a Gasly problem.
And then,
just saying.
It was all clap. Listen, Zhao crashed into Ricardo, crashes to Ocon, crashed to Gasly. Like, there's not much you could have done.
Always excuses of these Alpine, man. It's never their fault, bro. It's always excuses.
If you're a thinker, I'll say you're a thinker. But what happened wasn't our fault. It was all on the midfield. Zhao shouldn't be that far anyway. My one was qualified P5. What are you doing now at midfield? My guy, you shouldn't be jumping up.
Apparently, man like SD Bestie was taken to the hospital, wasn't it? Because his seat broke.
Yes, his seat split in half.
That's weird. That is weird. Hope he's all good in that. But yeah, that is weird because that's the closest thing to a driver's sitting in it. But that is weird. So I hope he's all good, man. Hope he's all good. But yeah, that is very weird.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then Hulkenberg doing bad. The K-Mag, that's another one as well. Again, I did say, Hulkenberg came P14 both. K-Mag P17. Yeah. So again, I did say Hulkenberg could came out this year, so I'm happy with that. That's one thing I can be happy about.
Do you know what? I just want to quickly talk on Mr. Kilometer here, Kwame. I want a quick summary from you here. Do you think Logan Sargent should join a Pinky Doll, who's recently went viral for the NPC TikTok game, where she makes 7,000 a day, which like so gang. Ice Cube so good. Do you think Logan Sargent should maybe try a different profession and be an NPC
She's dipping, man. She's dipping for the culture, man. She's dipping for the culture, man.
She's doing for culture. Oh, okay, right.
For the culture, man. Yeah.
She's French as well.
Hey, man, no, it's just that's the reason why I love Alpine, man. There's a big reason.
Yeah, she's French.
Hey, listen, Sergeant's just here to fill a quota, man. They got 3 American races. They needed at least one from this. That's one of the reasons why he's here. So listen, yeah, Sergeant. The sport is dying. We got drivers like Sergeant in our sport. We used to have big dogs in our sport throughout the grid, We used to have man like Panis in the Toyota doing that mash work. Now we've got man like Sargent. We used to have drillers in the low teams. Now we just got any man. But anyway, that's not talk for another day.
Bro, I was hearing, when was I hearing this? I think at the start of the season, Logan Sargent's better than Piastri. They were screaming out from the Himalayas and back. They were hollering down just because they had a title battle in F3. But listen, my man is I know they're in different cars. I hear that. But relative to the car that they have, Albon is a clear example of someone who likes to extract a lot of that Williams, and Sargent is clearly someone who doesn't. Whereas Piastri has got chat for Lando Norris, who is easily a top 5 driver on the grid in general. So I don't know how this argument of Mr. Kilometer is better than the better Australian, but boy, this chat needs to die immediately. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. Because your boy is getting dog walked, especially in Quali. Fucking hell.
Whoever said that, I'm looking into the camera here. Whoever said that, yeah. Go into the F1 website and do some revision on F1. I'm talking about just listen. On YouTube, there are great season reviews. I'm talking about 1989, 88. Go through. I want you to watch all of them because your opinion on the sport is not valid enough. You need to go back into archives to understand where this sport came from, because there is no galaxy in which Sargent holds a candle to a supreme talent like Oscar Piastri. I just want to get out there. It shouldn't even need to be said, Rich. It shouldn't even need to be said. If you ever had that take, stop watching F1. Go and start watching F1 from back in the day before you can watch today's F1, please.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts. But yeah, let's move on to driver of the day. Kwame, who's your driver of the day?
I'm going to continue my theme. And I'm not going to give it to Max despite him winning the race and him getting fast lap. I'm still going to give it to Lando Norris. Just for, being best, getting P2. I'm going to give it to Lando.
Cool. Rafa, who's your driver today?
The nominees, I'd say, are Max, George, and Lando. I'm going to give it to George. I feel like George has had a tough season this year. Side pod, he's getting killed by Lewis in the side pod era. Absolutely worked. But today, he had a good race, comes up from P18 to P6, get some good points. So I'm going to give it to George. I thought he drove fantastically well today.
Yeah, I'll be boring. I'll give it to Verstappenheimer. I'll give it to him. Verstappenheimer. 33 seconds, yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's 44 race wins now. The guy is climbing up the table, boy. He's gonna be at very easily top 3 race winners before the end of the season. He could probably catch and beat Vettel's total. I think Vettel's total was 54, something like that.
53.
53. Oh, I gassed him a bit too much. 50. You're not even.
It's gonna be a bit tight still. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit tight still. Yeah, but listen on the predictions thing. Yeah, I asked, will Max Verstappen? I think he was on 30 what? No, I can't remember what it was at the start of the season. So like 34 wins. Can't remember at the start of the season. Yeah, and I asked, will Verstappen reach 50 wins by the end of the season? Some people had the audacity to say no. Now man is on 44 wins. We haven't even hit summer break. He's probably going to get 45 wins by the time summer break hits. Yeah. All man has to do is get 5 wins in 12 races or whatever it is.
He's done. It's a full. He's done. It's wrapped. It is wraps. 50. Yeah, it's done.
No, it's clear. It's clear. It's clear. Like I want to talking about as well. Like,
we've got to have some discussions about where he ranks in F1 history soon, because if he's top 3 in race wins by the end of the season, we got to start. And obviously, he's basically a triple world champion already. So he's got, we got to have a discussion where he places among the pantheon greats, because he's putting up numbers, boy. The man's putting up big numbers, and I know numbers is not everything, but he's putting up some stats. So we at the end of the season, we have to have the Verstappen discussion, because my man's cooking.
Listen, I asked the question off the account last year. Yeah, I said, is Max Verstappen an all-time great? And it was pretty divided, and what it shouldn't have been. And my counter argument was, if let's say Jenson Button, Nico Rosberg, couple one-time world champions, Kimi Räikkönen, if they get classified as all-time greats, with someone this is 12 months ago as well, with someone of Max Verstappen's ability and stats, why can't he? And people, they like to bring emotion into it and stuff like that, which is irrelevant, to be fair.
Yep.
But now the question is more obvious. Is Max Verstappen all-time great? Yes or no? I've said yes for the last 12 months, and I'll stand on that. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more obvious now. I don't know about you, man, but listen, he's easily top 10, probably top 5 now.
I think
maybe knocking on the door.
I think he is an all-time great, because for me personally, I don't know who is my litmus test on all-time greats.
If I was to say to you, Rafa, if I was to say to you, is he? If you said all-time great is top 20, if you said, is he top 20?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. If I said to you, did he enter that top 20 12 months prior?
Yeah.
There you go.
Winning his first championship, he put in the top 20, I think.
I wouldn't go that far, though, because I wouldn't go that far. I would probably say after last year's, after the second, that's when I'll probably put him in the conversation. But me, I'm a type of guy, I have to wait till I see that they're up there with stats and numbers rather than doing an eye test. Because eye test, they never can mean anything.
Now, eye test is important.
No, it's important, but like, how that's playing it. Okay, so someone like Lando, for example. So someone like, or even George. Like, when George and Williams, people can see this guy's going to be a star. But I'm not going to say this guy's going to be all-time great because man's in the Williams. To make sense. Or even Lando when McLaren was much, much lower. Some people in the pod were telling me this guy's going to be a great, which I heard at the time, I'm like, cool. I hear you, but I need to wait to see this guy's in a good car. Because drivers in a bad car, look at Albon, for example, he's cooking in Williams. But when he's in Red Bull, he wasn't cooking. So certain drivers drive better in worse cars than better cars. Button was like a real example of that as well. So that's why I kind of wanted to wait down the line. But now I fully see it. He's clear. I get what you mean with the whole Albon and other drivers thing. I mean, obviously when we're talking about all-time greats, there's obviously like car bias. Obviously, like I'm not. When I was Checo would be an all-time great, like because shit he was doing in the midfield for Force India and that. He was cooking. You could on the 2010s, you could actually put a strong argument he was a top 5 driver of the 2010s. It'd be hard because
if you take
arguments. I don't think he is. I did before. I don't think he is because obviously there's Lewis, Max, Nico, Danny Rick, Vettel. There's five. Alonso. Forgot that. Sorry, bro. I forgot.
Alonso was cooking in a Ferrari. He was cooking in a terrible McLaren. He was there. But yeah, nah. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, you're going to be, It's the McLaren spell that blinds him because he took 2 years off at the end of it. I forget Ferrari. Yeah, he was cooking. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, of course, Alonso. But yeah, so there's 6 names there. So, yeah, but obviously, yeah. We're going back for you. Yeah.
My litmus test is my all-time greats is are you better than Kimi Räikkönen? Because Kimi Räikkönen is on the edge for me of all-time great because he almost had like 2 careers. His first was his career. The guy was moving crazy in his first 2 years of his career, and obviously second half tailed off a bit. But he is literally on the edge of all-time greatness for me. So if you're better than him in my eyes, then I know you're an all-time great. And I think for me, what he done in 2021, he put him in that kind of era. Yeah, so that's what I believe.
No, yeah. To be fair, I just put Kimi there anyway because he was on the grid for 20 odd years. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's greatness in this. And obviously, he fell off a cliff, ran about the second spell of Ferrari.
No, he's just his McLaren days 03-05, man was cooking. Even though they won the championship, he was up there with Schumacher, Montoya. Then Ferrari won in his first season against Alonso and Lewis at their peak. And then that's when everything is even queuing back kind of downhill up until Lotus when he was so good. He put that team in bankruptcy. That's how good he was with bonuses. So he did that.
His 2012 season doesn't get talked enough about a lot. He was actually very, very good that year. Even though he had and then obviously neck surgery kind of killed him a bit in terms of pace. But yeah, that's what my litmus test.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But interesting side notes that we went on to reverse tangent. But let's move on to the last topic, and that is Latifi Award. So Rafa, who's your Latifi of the day?
Who had a stinker? I'm trying to think. As I do kind of like this driver, but I think it might have to be Joe. That start was
awful.
It was bad. It was bad. Man messed up and then said, you know what? Whoever gets hit, and people got hit. So yeah, for that alone, it has to be my man. And the reason why it has to be him as well, after having such a great day the day before, you go and drop the biggest howler of your season. So it has to be Joe.
Yeah, I agree. Kwame?
I'm not a big fan of this driver. If you know, but yeah, I give you guys has to be Joe Gandhi for me as well. That jump from P5. I mean, to be fair, the one good thing about him is his qualifying. I'm like, okay, he's not qualifying, but just like his bro, his big bro Bottas, man, off cheeks down the grid, and then he literally stalled and then ended up a calamity for the Alpines and for Daniel Rick. So because of that and everyone else on the grids, I'll be clutching straws if I say certain drivers like Sargent or K-Mag. I have to give to Joe Gagny for that start and then just to drop off and the penalty as well. He got it's very rare for drivers to get a penalty on lap 1, as it is. Because in the generation now where there was that pad, be like, oh yeah, race incident. So the fact that you got that straight away, boy, that's how you know you did that. And after that, it just got muddy for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Joe, that start and then doing his best Bottas suppression, ironically, it's just honk, come on. Absolute honker. But that's all for today. If you did get this far, please remember to, of course, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram. I think we're on Threads now as well. And TikTok, all under the name Pitstop Fracas. And also, don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, leave us a 5-star review as well, because they really help too. But yeah, that's all for today, and we'll catch you next time at Spa Francorchamps. Peace.
Safe.